me tell you a story about my life. I was in class 8 and had a huge crush on somebody. And I never told him. And many years later, I realized and I came to know he had a huge crush on me. And he never told me. So both of us liked each other and never told each other. And missed out on what could have been a nice relationship. And as a part of us not telling each other, things got weird for us. And I think the friendship also got affected. Does that sound familiar? This is not just about relationships. I have a client who came to me and said that she's being harassed at work. And this is more emotional harassment. Her boss is being very unkind to her. And she's not able to talk about it to anyone. There is somebody who's going through a marriage that's not working out. And she's not able to share about it with anybody. There's somebody who had come into our workshop who was at that time the senior vice president in his company. And he said he never wanted to do engineering, but he never could tell his parents about it. Why don't we say what we want to say? What stops us from having that critical conversation? What goes on in our minds as these doubts come up? What goes on in our minds that finally gets us to stop and nothing comes out of it? See, there are only two things that can happen. You will either have a conversation or not have a conversation. If you have the conversation, there are only two things that can happen. It can either go well or it won't go well. Probably something in the middle, right? So if we know that these are the possible scenarios, what is it that is stopping us from actually doing anything about it? What is it that's preventing us from taking an action? Is it fear? What will happen if they don't like what I have to say? What will happen if I hear a no? What will happen if I lose out on a relationship? What will happen to my job if I open my mouth? Will I lose out on the relationships? Will I lose out on a salary? Ultimately, is the fear of losing out on something. But what's the cost of not speaking up? To me, that feels like a lot more. What is it for you? How about taking the plunge and taking that step? How about starting a conversation? And even pre-framing it by saying, I don't know where it's going, but it's important for me. How about listening to the other person, what they have to say? And how about experimenting with having that conversation? Try it and tell me what it feels like.